What if I told you evening times are probably not the best times for most couples to have sexual intercourse? Would that surprise you? If that's the case, stick around. In this video, I'm going to go over 4 ways where you can increase 4 things to keep in mind that will increase the amount of times, the frequency that you and your partner get to engage in that beautiful lovemaking. All right, so without wasting any more time, let's get into it.
You got that hotter than a summertime in July. Time magic, and I got to have it. I got to say it again.
For most people who are in relationships, as time goes on, as life happens, you will find that the amount of times they get to connect sexually also reduces as far as frequency. And when you look a little bit further, it's not like these people are fighting or quarreling for any reason. It just happens that the amount of times that they get to connect sexually reduces. And for most people, if you ask them why that is the case, they will say, oh, I've been busy, or work has been crazy, or kids, or whatever the reason might be. However, I think there's some things we can look into. There's some awareness we can bring into this subject that will show us some of the real reasons as to why we do not connect enough sexually. And this video will showcase some of the things that people do that block that sexual connection, that physical sexual connection from happening. In relationship, you definitely need that. It doesn't matter if it's been 3 years that you've been together, a year, or 6 months. You want to make sure that that physical aspect of getting to connect sexually is still there, and it's a venue, it's a medium that you and your partner use on a regular basis. The first thing that you and your partner can do to increase the frequency of how often you connect sexually is make sure you eat your last meal at least 3 hours before bedtime. And the main reason why I'm saying this is because you find that people are very busy with everything around them, that they eat their last meal, let's say at 8 p.m., and they want to go to bed at 9:30 or 10. With that, you find that your body is still digesting some of the food that you ingested. And during that process, during that period, which might take, let's say, 3 to 4 hours for that digestion to happen, your body has got these systems where it takes resources where they're needed. And the resource that's needed for digestion is blood flow. So you will find that you'll feel a little bit tired, you'll feel a little bit dizzy sometimes after you've had a meal, because your body says, hey, there is food in the stomach and that thing has to be digested. So the blood flow that's being directed to digestion is what you cannot use for connecting. In order for men to get erection, you need that blood flow to be able to go to those private parts. And even for women who do not need that erection, like men do, you find that they also need that blood flow to be readily available to go into these parts that are needed for sexual connection, for sexual feelings, in order for them to actually enjoy the act. And if you try to force that sexual connection when there is not proper blood flow, it's not going to feel good. And the more you try that, you're actually going to be conditioning your brain to say, hey, connecting with my partner this way does not feel good, so you're going to want to do less and less. Your brain has this mechanism of reward, where if you do something a few times or even twice and it doesn't really get any rewards as far as pleasure, it's going to want to do that thing less and less. And if that thing happens to be connecting with your partner sexually, that's not a good thing to happen there. The second thing to keep in mind is take away distractions from your bedroom. And this is something that you see everywhere. People have tablets, people have TVs, people have gaming consoles in their bedrooms. And when you go to bed and you start taking your attention to all these other things, all these peripherals in your bedroom, in that same time, you take away the attention that you could have been giving your partner. So what I advise people is those few minutes before you fall asleep or before you make love to your partner, you want that attention to be directed to them. But let's say if you go to bed and you find your wife or your partner or your girlfriend is on a tablet or is on their phone or is watching TV, and the attention is directed to that particular gadgets or electronic, it's very hard for you to try to connect and try to get their attention, especially if they're watching or doing something that's completely engulfed them as far as attention wise. So when you have these distractions away from your bedroom, you create room for attention to come and be given to the appropriate person, to the person who is your partner, whom you want to connect to and engage with sexually. Personally, I found that it was not electronics that were taking my attention before bed. It was my notebook that was always by my side, that I could not stop downloading all the information I had in my head, even when it was bedtime. So that was something that was taking me away from connecting with my wife. For you, it could be something completely different. So whatever it is that's taking your attention during that bedtime, it's something that you should try to regulate or take away from your bedroom in order to allow attention to flow to your partner. And of course, at that point, sexual intercourse frequency is going to increase. All right, so that was number 2. Number 3 is something that most people don't even want to hear, but I have to say it. Schedule sex time. This is something that most people do not even want to touch. They say, hey, Evans, sex time should be, it's one of those things that should be spontaneous. It should happen at whatever time you feel like it happening. And that's completely fine. However, with how busy we are, with how our attention is being taken in so many different directions, scheduling in this essence just means that you're prioritizing connecting with your partner sexually. It's one of those things where you look at a calendar and you say, you know what? Thursday evening is sexy time with my wife. And once you see that, it doesn't mean that you should be like a machine. You just get into the act. No, it just means that your priority is connecting with your partner within that time. If it's from 6 p.m. all the way till 9 p.m., that's what you designated between you and your lady. As far as this is the time we are going to connect intimately, make sure that you have no other obligations on the side. Make sure that you're not giving your attention to your phone or anything else, but you dedicate, you prioritize that time to your partner. So when you schedule sex, it just means that this particular event, this particular interaction that you're going to have with your lady is a priority to the both of you. Scheduling to me means prioritizing. Scheduling doesn't mean that you're taking the fun out of the activity, out of the intimacy and the lovemaking sessions that you're going to enjoy with your partner. Number 4 is what I hinted on in the beginning of the video, and that is move sexy time to either mornings or afternoons. You see, and I have a reason for this. Most people, when they think about connecting with their partners sexually, they designate evening times. Most people during that evening time, they're very energy deprived. They're very exhausted at that particular time. And that is the time that they choose or subconsciously decide to connect with their partner sexually. You're literally giving the most deprived and the most desensitized version of you of that particular day to your partner. Just think about that for a minute. When most people, especially in the mornings or in the afternoons, they still have that attention, they still have that energy. When you decide to connect with your partner, it's not about just sitting there and doing nothing. You need that energy to do the work, to put in the effort into the whole sexual intercourse part of the connection. So when you leave that to evening time, you will find that you would not want to do or put in effort as if it was in the mornings or in the afternoons. So be very mindful. If you're the kind of person that evenings, you have all the energy, you have all the attention to give to your partner, that's completely fine. But I want you to choose that consciously. However, if you find that it hasn't been happening the evening as you'd want to, or even if it was happening, the quality of that sexual connection lacked effort, either from her or from you, this is the time where you can think, you know what, let's try to move it to morning times. And you might not be able to do this on a 3-4 times a week, connect with your lady in this sense, in that amount of times a week. However, you can say, you know what, Saturday and Sunday is the time when me and my lady are going to stay in bed and get to connect in that particular manner. And if you're the kind of person that in the afternoons, that's when you find you're the most sensitized, when you find that you're the most energized or you're most attentive, and you can take that attention and give to your partner, go ahead and move it to afternoons. There is nowhere where it says that sexual intercourse in a relationship need to happen in the evening. Okay? Take that notion out. If something's a priority, if something means a lot to you and your partner, give it the energy and the focus and the attention and the sensitivity in this case that it deserves. If that sensitivity happens to be in the morning, go ahead and do that. If it's in the evening or in the afternoon, make sure that you choose and you understand when and where your energy is best for that particular connection between you and your lady. And just a pro tip here, if you decide to engage in sexual activities with your lady in the mornings, just be very mindful. When you just wake up, your body just came out of a paralysis. You are paralyzed for a good portion of your sleep. So those sensories and everything were not firing like they should. Take time to engage in foreplay with your lady. This is the time where there's that soft, loving touch that's happening. And with that, you're literally waking up all the sensations from her skin. You know, you're making these nerves fire and send those messages to one another. So engage in foreplay a little bit, and then from there, engage in those sexual intercourse. All right. So you don't want to jump straight from waking up to the activity and getting busy. No. If you jump straight from waking up to sexual intercourse, the physical part, and you skip the foreplay, you find that the sensation is not going to be as good. So allow her to wake up, allow those nerves to start firing, and from there, go and make some sweetest love to your lady. All right. So those are 4 ways you can increase intimacy. You can increase the frequency that you and your lady get to connect sexually on a regular basis and in a way that you're both going to enjoy. I have an acronym that will allow you guys to remember this. ETSM. E stands for eat at least 3 hours before you go to bed, and be very mindful of the kind of foods that you eat because they will influence your energy, and the quantity also influences how much digestion is going to take before that blood flow can be allocated to sexual pleasures. T is take away distractions from your bedroom. Before you go to bed, your attention should be given to your partner in that little moments before you fall asleep, okay? And S is schedule sexy time. If something is important, put it on a calendar where you're going to give it the attention it truly deserves. And M stands for move sexy time to a period of the day or to a time of the day that works well for you and your partner, all right? Thank you very much for listening. And a nice quick closing note here. If you would love to receive an email from me on a weekly basis on things pertaining dating, relationships, self-growth, and some of the amazing things that come across during my week, go ahead to the website, sign up for the Abundance Club, and there I'll be sending you guys an email once a week on the things again that I've loved, I've enjoyed, that I think can add value into your own lives. So I will leave the link in the description below. Go ahead and sign up there. Thank you very much for being here. And as always, remember to live abundantly. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.